We're always told that to have power, you gotta be loud, be visible. You have to command the room. But what if? What if the real power, the most potent kind, is the one that doesn't even have to announce itself? Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of quiet power. Just let that sink in for a second. It's a pretty intense statement, right? In this explainer, we are going to unpack the incredible psychology behind that idea. What is it that makes silence so powerful? And maybe more importantly, why can it be so intimidating to the rest of us? All right, let's get into it. So first things first, we have to challenge this huge assumption that we all kind of grow up with, that the loudest person in the room is automatically the strongest. We're sort of wired to see power as this big performance, something you have to broadcast for it to even be real. And this right here, this is the core of the issue. See, we live in this attention economy where we're all chasing likes and views and followers. But influence, the actual ability to create change, that's a completely different currency. Real power is self-contained. It doesn't need an audience to know it exists.
So what exactly are we talking about when we say quiet power? This isn't about being shy or passive, not at all. It's about drawing your strength from a totally different source, an internal one.
So here it is, the official definition. It's about being psychologically free. Think about it. It's that person who doesn't need to post 100 photos of their vacation to prove they enjoyed it, or the one who isn't jumping on every new trend just to feel like they belong. Their sense of self simply isn't up for a public vote.
I love this slide because it just lays it out so clearly. On one side, you've got this power that's constantly looking outward, right? It needs fuel from other people, likes, comments, approval. But on the other side, you have a power that's internally generated. It's the huge difference between reacting to whatever the world throws at you and acting from a stable inner core.
So how does someone even get to this state? Well, it's not magic. It's actually built on 3 key psychological pillars that together create that unshakable, silent strength.
So here they are. We're going to break down each one of these. First, having crystal clear clarity on who you are. Second, being emotionally self-reliant. And third, the result of those two, being genuinely, and I mean genuinely, unbothered by all the noise.
Okay, let's start with the foundation. Everything else really rests on this first pillar, self-concept clarity.
What this really boils down to is this. You know who you are. You know what you value and what you believe in, totally separate from any external labels. Your identity isn't just a collage of what's popular this week. It's a solid structure you've built from the inside out. You're the one writing your own story.
All right, now let's build on that. Once you have that solid foundation of who you are, we move to pillar number 2, emotional independence. This means you are not on an emotional roller coaster that's being controlled by other people's opinions. A compliment doesn't make your day, and a criticism doesn't ruin it. You are your own source of validation. And think about how powerful that is. It means you can't be easily manipulated by praise or pressure.
And that brings us to the third pillar, which is really the thing everyone else sees on the outside. It's the result of the first two, the state of being genuinely unbothered. And this part is so key. It is not an act. This isn't someone pretending not to care to look cool. No. It's the natural outcome of knowing exactly who you are and not needing anyone else to regulate your emotions. You just don't engage with the drama, because from your secure foundation, it all just seems, kind of irrelevant.
Okay, so we get what quiet power is and we see where it comes from. But that brings us right back to our big question. Why do people find this so intimidating? Why does it make them so uncomfortable? Let's really think about that for a second. In a world that runs on social currency, likes, follows, shares, what happens when someone just decides not to play the game at all? The reasons are actually pretty fascinating, and they say a lot about us. First off, this person is operating outside the normal rules. You can't control them with praise or criticism. Second, their silence can be like a blank canvas, and people project their own insecurities onto it, often mistaking that quiet confidence for arrogance or judgment. And finally, and this is the real kicker, their self-containment holds up a mirror. It shows everyone else just how dependent they might be on the very approval this person doesn't seem to need. And wow, that can be a really uncomfortable thing to see.
So what's the big takeaway here? How do we take all of this and actually apply it to our own lives?
It all comes down to this one simple but really profound idea. Power that lasts. Power that is truly yours isn't something you put on like a costume for an audience. It's something you grow, quietly and intentionally, on the inside.
And that leaves us with one last, pretty powerful question to think about. Is your sense of self something you rent from the opinions of others, or is it something you own outright? The answer to that might be the true source of all your power.